GM, welcome to episode 1 of Predict Fantasy Top Predict Daily. I'm your host, the Carpenter. Alongside me today, very special guest and big brain, no pun intended, Pavel. Pavel, how are you?
Oh, good, mate. Thanks, Carp. Thanks for having me on. How are you doing, folks?
Yeah, man, it's super excited to have you here, man. Um, you're a Chad in the fantasy trenches, and now especially with the prediction markets going live, this week there's no surprise to see you on top of the leaderboards across the board, right?
Well, I would give it a little bit until the markets actually resolve. I feel like I won't be that much ahead. I just cashed out a lot of bets early on, which might be actually a mistake. But it's that tingly feeling of having to cash out in a profit. So hopefully, I haven't left all of my bad bets to resolve.
Yo, yeah. See,
We'll see
that's
how it
one
goes.
thing where I've caught myself. Like, I took a couple ones, like when intern hit. I grabbed him, like cashed in on one of his bets, and then, um, but then I was like, man, and I felt good doing it because then Adam Cochran does what he does best and just post banger after banger. So, and then RWLK came out swinging too, so I cashed in on both of those. But I'm starting to feel like maybe that like they could still end up on top. Um, but we'll definitely have to get into like your thought process on pulling, when you're cashing out bets and kind of like what you look for in cashing those bets out early, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think I want to talk about that a little bit because I feel like that's one of the more interesting sides of the prediction markets because the UI is not that intuitive yet. So you need to really think about what you're doing when you're cashing out. But we can get into that maybe in more detail in a little bit.
Absolutely. And if you want, would you like to share your screen? And I could
Yeah,
pop you through.
absolutely. Yeah, of course. Okay, let me. I'm just gonna share my whole browser because I'm jumping in between many tabs.
Sounds
Uh,
good.
okay, do you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. So, first of all, I love the new fantasy look. it's it's kind of noisy, but there's like so much going on right now with the arcade, with the prediction markets, and so on. I just love it. I just found out in a little bit. I hadn't opened the jackpot before, and I just found out this super cool view that shows you like the perfect decks and like how you can bring it back to past mains and just see what's the optimal deck. Like that's super cool, man. I didn't even see that in the beginning. um but yeah, anyways, getting into it, prediction markets, cool. So as you would probably notice, I've bet quite a lot
Yes.
on prediction markets. I'm not sure if I might be first by volume right now. So this currently is buggy and you cannot order by volume, but I think it's mostly me, Visavi. Then I think here you would find Tom and France are mostly like I think the top four volume holders right now. And obviously, yeah, by PNL so far I'm doing relatively well, but as I said, like that might be a double-edged sword because I've been cashing out some good bets which I might have actually let cook more, but we'll see how that goes.
On
um
that, real quick, what
yeah.
so what bets are you did you cash out? Were they kind of like the longer bets, like the who will be first and stuff like that, or you kind of dive in that a little bit?
Well, to be honest, it's been so my habit the past couple of days has been whenever I have the time, I just log in for like 30 minutes and do a session of like reviewing all of the markets we have right now and their odds. And whenever I see a position that I have conviction on has gone the opposite way, so I'm losing money on it, I might be doubling down on it and adding more to the position and at the same odds that I had initially. Or when I see something is going maybe unexpectedly ahead for me early on, I'm trimming down the position or maybe even fully cashing out. And that's why I kind of ended up like with an already realized PNL of 1K. But I was mostly trimming down on bets which I was just seeing people are crowding too much. So a good example was the top five. So the top five market was something which was quite popular in the beginning when markets opened, and I think part of why was because there was a very, I think, inefficient liquidity bootstrapping of this, where since the way that markets are set up initially, all of the options have basically the same odds at the beginning. That means that the starting odds for someone like Alo to finish top five would be the same as someone like Adam. So initially, like, I was basically refreshing every 5 seconds the page to wait for the first markets to appear in the first like 30 minutes before the launch. And then when they launched, I first went to the Platinum League, because that also has that problem where people like Trapdoor and me, for example, have equal odds, which is ridiculous because he's winning every second platinum. So I was instantly betting on him quite a lot, and then I went in the top five here, and I saw. I think Mikado has already gone through it by the time I got it, but I was able to do like quite a lot of good bets on the no side. Let me see if there's some obvious ones. So a lot of these don't tell the actual good odds I took in the beginning, but because I've then added more and it narrows down
Yeah.
the average. But Grid Code, for example, was a good one where I managed to get a super huge position on a 1.4, which is a ridiculously good odds for him finishing out of the top five.
Yep.
And actually, just before the stream, wanted to add more, but I left it for the stream, and now somebody else has done it. Yeah, it's Tom. So he just did it. Oh shit, he did exactly what I wanted to do in the stream.
Great
That's
minds,
funny.
right? Great minds think alike.
Yeah, I actually literally wanted to go on based and on grid for the no, because they were 115 still, and it's quite a lot of time into the tournament, and they're like ranks 50 and 60 currently. So let me just maybe dry run through this. So what I usually do with these is, so when I go to grid, for example, here, I would go and check like how he's doing actually in the tournament. So either here, which I think in probably a day or two, it's going to be integrated into the prediction market itself. But I can see he's already like 63rd. I might want to also directly jump to his Twitter and just see, just in case, like if he's having any recent posts, which, well, this one is 40 seconds ago, but just like any recent posts that might have some big potential. And I'm just kind of thinking on like, okay, what are the actual odds of him going top five? Like, obviously he has a big bank potential, but if you look at his performance, it's mostly been outside of tournaments, and even when he hits one within the tournament, it's usually not enough to carry him to top 10, to top five. Sorry. So it feels like a good odds, which I would have taken 10 minutes ago. So then, whoops, not this one. So then basically I would just kind of see how deep I can go with it and still take the odds that I actually want. So let me find one with actually I want to double down on maybe. Let's see. Most of these are quite squeezed out. I think mostly by Tom just now. So I guess Main is a good example. Main just posted in his Telegram like earlier today that he's going to be spending time with his family around the holidays, won't be that active and so on. And he's already, I think, like 50th or so, 46th in the tournament. So it's like super unlikely that he gets anywhere close. So if I go in here, like I already have a decent position here, which I opened earlier today, but if I go in here, you can see that like I can still get a almost like 10% return on this. And as I go deeper in it, like it gets lower to a point where I'm usually not looking at this that much, because this is an average from all of these 300 frags. But if you look at it, the first 100 have a 9% return, so 9 frag win. Then if I do 200, it's just 7 frags more. So for the second 100 frags, I have a 7% return, which is why the average is 1.08. But getting deeper than that, like it feels like you're betting at 1.07 at this point, but your last 100 frags in here, they're actually only having like a 5% return or something like that, which doesn't make like a ton of sense. So in reality, I think this one is quite squeezed out. So what I would probably do is I would go something like 150 or something, just to add a little bit more, because it does feel like free money at this point. But I'm already quite happy, like with the position I have, pretty much there.
Heck yeah. So is that what you're kind of looking for? Especially do like so now that we're like into the tournament, we're kind of into the weeds and into the meat of the tournament, right? Are you looking for kind of those almost like guaranteed returns of like 5% or better?
No, really. To be honest, I think this is one that I'm pushing a little bit extra for now because I have in the back of my mind the volume competition. Without it, I probably wouldn't go as deep into some of these. Like, for example, right now on 1.12, I wouldn't go for Star Plat. Star Plat, if you go and check him out, he's 31 right now, so he's not doing that great, but he has that bank potential where he might still have a small odd of getting into the top 5. So at this point, like it wouldn't be really that worth it. I have a 1.3 odds on my current position. Just going deeper than that kind of feels like grasping for straws here. Like it's not really something that would help that much. But on the opposite side, because of how the fees are working, this is actually not really. So if you look at the chart, this is supposedly giving it a 15% chance of yes, which basically doesn't sound that low, but in reality, because of let me actually move this a little bit lower just to show what I mean. So if I bet 100, it goes to 1.09, right? So this doesn't update live, but probably now it's like 12% or like even less. But this cannot go down as much as you would expect, because at some point, like let me find one where I can make my point. So Halo is a good one. Here, it's basically you have no reason to bet on it, right? But you have still supposedly a 5% chance of him going for top 5. But in reality, this is just not an odd that anyone would be able to take, because you're going with the fee that you're paying, which is 5%, you're going below 1.00. So that means that essentially this is the minimum odds, the minimum chance on the chart that you could see for any market, which is yes, no.
Okay.
Which is
that makes sense.
A little bit unintuitive until you actually understand how the market works underneath. But it's something that kind of helps you think about it, that this picture here, like it has 2 parameters which you need to kind of think about. It has the fee, meaning that you need to think about how these odds here are less, there's a lower multiplier than what is the real world odd for this market. And also, as soon as you change your position in here, like the odds here would change, obviously, depending on the slippage that you would have if you bet on it, which is also quite interesting to look at. I found myself doing a lot of like 1 frag odds on the top 1 market, for example, which we can also go into in a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I kind of hit was at the beginning, as when there wasn't a lot of liquidity into it, because like in the early stages, kind of like you were talking about, like even a 10 frag bet could really skew the markets, like drop your your multiplier by quite an amount. So I would do like 1 or 2 there at first, kind of just to throw some flyers out there. But yeah, it was fun to see if you hit one of those.
And it's not even in the beginning, like a lot of, so what I did here on a lot of these, basically if you go down lower to the less likely options, like if you look at the default option, which is 10 here, and you want to bet on a carbon banger that just goes and tops the chart, it would seem that it's a 200 multiplier. But if you actually, as you said, remove the 0 here, you can actually bet on 600 here. which I've done multiple times. So while early on, I was just going with a 1 here and just clicking like any of the 950 multipliers on the people that actually could maybe bang, and just adding one by one a little bit more frags, just making sure that I can have some decent positions for the what ifs.
Heck yes, yes. That I actually didn't think about that one because I would wait and like click on it and then change my number. But yeah, I forgot that like it shows you your
Yeah,
multiplier
it's
based
fastest
on the
position
10.
here. Mm.
Yeah, so that was a good shout. I'm gonna have to remember that for the rest of my bets.
Yeah, Inter was a crazy one. Like kudos to the people that actually managed to squeeze a lot. I think France managed to get a
Yes.
172 multiplier on that, and with a decent
Yep.
sized bag, which was crazy. And it's not far from happening. Like this, although Adam would be continuing to pump the numbers, and you could see him like leading into the tournament, he had a crazy chart on the 24-hour. It was basically constantly at 950 and plus. Like this is his low points are 940, which is crazy.
That is
Like
insane.
this momentum into the tournament, like it was such a clear favorite. But then, like when the interim post dropped, even though it's just one post in the beginning of the tournament, you would think that. So if we go and find it, so you would think that such a post would make a lot of bang in the beginning because he posted it early on into the tournament, so it had a lot of impact early on. And such posts are supposed to fade away, right? So these heroes usually drop in score over the days in the tournament. But this is like such a classic and memorable video that it would probably get shared for days after it's posted. So I think
Yep.
it's gonna continue, actually, even without him posting anymore. It's gonna continue competing, I think, with Adam for the first spot, and you can see him just like hovering right around there. So it's a very interesting market right now. To be honest, oh, there's a what the fuck? Someone who just cashed out a bunch of that. Let me
Oh,
get
so
in
it
on
just
that.
opened. Oh, so yeah, if someone catches out on that, it actually so removing that liquidity
Yeah,
affects the odds you can get, right? So if someone takes out, it opens up the door for someone to get in with better odds, correct?
yeah. So we probably will see who just did that just a second ago. Might be someone on the stream. There we go. Like there's this guy with 100 frags taken out. This is massively skewing the odds on this.
Okay.
Oh no, that was 1 hour ago actually.
So
No,
was it
it's
that
this
guy
one
right
then.
there?
It's Sick Ass
Oh, okay.
Pan, yeah, with 130. So I guess he was cashing out. But so what I do when I'm cashing out, I'm gonna give an example with Adam here because I think that's super under understood. So when you're cashing out this, like it feels like I can cash out my position for a 1.6 return, right? 200
Mm-hmm.
frags for 360. But in reality, like I can get a much better return on that if I don't cash it out at once. So it's a pretty big position for a market which it does have a lot of volume. But if you think about it, this is 180 markets, which all of them have a liquidity size, and that liquidity size is basically calculating the odds against each other. So if you go on and cash out, let's say just 10% of this,
Mm-hmm.
you can see that my return is actually 3x. It's not 1.6x, it's 3x
Yeah.
because I would be cashing out 21 frags for 64. So if I do cash out that from 2.05, it just went to 2.3, which is the biggest market right now. And even 20 frags are moving it like significantly. So if I
Yes,
go
that's
and try
good.
and do that again, because 10% is easy to calculate,
Mm-hmm.
I know that now for 20 frags, for 19.4 frags taken out, I would be getting 51. So that's a 2.5x return now, which at this point I might say, yeah, okay, that's not worth it. Let's actually keep it here and maybe go for the win. So I'm not going to cash out more. But this is what I usually do to just understand if I should trim down a position or not. So Luke Cannon, for example, here, I have 3 frags going on 0.500. So if I do want to cash out here, like if I cash out even one frag of these, I'm gonna get most of my profit actually.
Yep, that's smart.
And it doesn't really make sense to cash out the full position. And I think that's kind of a mistake that I see people do a lot, because so there's a couple of people that just obviously cashed out probably their full positions on intern, and that gave me like an easy entry at 30x here just now, and with a decent size, with 50 frags is a decent size for this market, which I wouldn't really expect. And I think that that video has a lot more weight to pull in still through the coming days.
I'm glad you said that, because I was not. There was some positions I took out yesterday, and I kind of was playing around with it. Let me go to my profile and see. And just real quick, I wanted to give Kippet his flowers real quick, because on the stream we did Friday, we kind of talked about, I was having a hard time finding where my portfolio was, and it was up in the right. And he, like, as we were on there, he's like, "Oh, we should probably put our a PFP there, right, to help people."
Oh
see
yeah.
it. And he instantly turned around and put that PFP on.
They're pushing fixes like crazy. I mean, not
Yep.
just fixes. Like this one was something that I just saw like 15 minutes ago. So on the head-to-head, like they now put the current rankings. Like this is
Yep.
probably from a few hours ago. It wasn't there earlier today,
Yep.
which is
If
quite
they're
cool. There's a
updating
lot
it
of
constantly, I like it.
yeah. There's a lot of places where you would need that. Like for example, if we just go back to that, who's going first market. Now, if I am going to cash out part of my Atom position, like this needs to be a lot easier to think about. I currently feel like I have an edge because I'm thinking extra about what I want to do with this. But the fact that you can cash out 20% of your position for 33% of your cash out value, it's something unintuitive, which we need to figure out like how to. And I have some concrete suggestions here that I gave to Kippet. I think they'll probably implement them, but this needs to be like a lot more intuitive on what it actually does under the hood. So at what odds you would be cashing out, like what's the value that you're cashing out against like what you're getting, just having more information in this model here, because it's actually a crucial part of how you play the game.
And actually, I looked back at my history, because I knew I cashed out on my Choose Rich Nick yesterday, finishing number 1, and my intern finishing number 1. And because like at the end of the day, like my thought process is only one of them can win number 1, right? So I want to trim as much as I can, because I can't win on all of them. So I want to secure a little bit of profit on the ones that I feel like maybe are less likely to hit. So even though intern, that's what I wanted to make sure, is like, hopefully I didn't trim all of my intern profit after talking to you, because you like a light bulb went off. So I ended up securing like 200, like a 200% or something. So like 20x, which was because I still have 19 I can pull out now. And it was only a 1 frag, or I did 2 frags, and I pulled out, I think, 20.
I can actually
1 frag
see
worth
history, which is cool.
Yep. And
wow, you had 232x odds.
Yep.
At intern.
And I still have 19 I can pull out. But I was thinking about pulling, so if I pull 19 out, that's a 19.1x. But if I pull out, like, say, like 50% of them, I'm getting a 21x. But I feel like that's almost like to the point where just keep it at this point, right? Because I can end up getting the 223. And then Choose Rich Nick, I think I pulled his full. I pulled all of mine out on his, because he wasn't really posting much at that point.
I pulled a lot from him. He had a good post early on, which if you look at him, like he had a weak momentum in the beginning of the tournament, actually before the tournament. So if you see this, like he was way lower than his usual before the tournament. Then he had that good like Christmas post with the half naked lady, which we all knew it would do well. And I think people overestimated how well he would do just because of his recent like few successful tournaments. But in general, like the current odds for him, like the market is pricing him as if he's a top 10 competitor, and I don't think he is a consistent top 10 competitor. It's just that he has like a good run, which he occasionally does. He occasionally does that, where he has a few streaks of like good performance. but generally, like I'm not like hugely bullish on Nick. So I think I sold any positions I had on Nick because I was able to get good odds on him. So I've cashed out fully there, and I also have a contrarian bet on the head-to-head where I'm gonna even double down on it. So I've been piling on this for quite a while now.
for Jake to
I'm
beat him.
just continuing to bet on that because JK is lower than usual, and Nick is only gonna be falling, I think, because his post is having the most impact in the beginning of the tournament. So it's more likely I'll lose that than not. But for a 3.2x, I don't care. I think I need one of these to hit for the other one to make sense. And I feel like I've managed to get good odds on all three. So Jakey versus Nick, Jesse beating Mert, and Ansem beating Dip. So they're all the underdogs in these, but I feel like in the real world they're more evenly matched. So the
Yep.
3x just kind of makes sense. So if one of them happens, I'm gonna be net zero. If two of them happen, I'm gonna be like in a quite decent profit.
That's a good way to look at it too. You're looking kind of at it as a whole, right? Instead of each individual bet as well, which I feel like is a way a lot of people don't look at it, right?
Yeah, the thing is, I think Keep It was saying that also in the last stream you guys had when you probably mentioned me like 4 times. I was kind of blushing while listening, but 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 I think he was talking about the way you're playing is just whenever you see odds which are undervalued, just go at them. And if you go at enough markets, you kind of just need to trust your ability to calculate the bad odds and jump on them. So the good odds actually, and jump on them, because it would all like net at the end. Like I have positions in almost every market that is open right now, and I feel like I might lose quite big time on some. Like for example, this I might be 600 frags down, and it's likely, and I actually expect to be down. But it's just kind of making the right positions to see yourself net positive at the end.
Yeah. I was studying a lot of your over pretty much ever since Friday when they went live. I was kind of looking, tracking yours. After Franz hit that bet, kind of looking at his a little bit, and then of course like Vav. But like I think it'd be cool to actually have a bet, and I don't even know how this would work, but have a bet that on who would win the competition, right? Like the trading competition, because I
I was
would
actually thinking about that. Yeah,
be fun.
that'd be quite cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the more you can bet on players, the more fun it is. Actually, I haven't
Absolutely.
looked at the volume, but so the Plat League one has okay, volume is not that bad, but generally like it doesn't have as good volume as the ones betting on heroes, obviously. But I think it's one of the ones that I've had the most fun in. So
Absolutely.
when I go into the Plat one, so it's quite crazy because you need to know the players and you can get very deep into researching because you can actually go and check everybody's inventories even before the tournament starts. You can just go ahead and check what cards does Bonsai have, what cards does Collier have, and just make sure you have the right understanding of their odds of winning. So once you do that, basically what I did here is I've actually bet on pretty much almost everyone, and on some, my positions are only good enough to basically cover my investment. So for example, on Trapdoor, that's what I have. It's just a hedge. But on people like Kole actually, and Crap and King of the North, where it's easy to get good odds at them because people undervalue them, then
Mm-hmm.
I've built the positions which are cheap but actually get me ahead in the case that they do win. So back when the tournament was still not started, I was going and like looking at a lot of these people's inventories to understand kind of what they would play, and to see from my own perspective like how good odds they had of winning. And a fun one, for example, was Juan Snow, was it? Just skipped a legendary Rasmer, and I immediately knew that because I knew his inventory, and he's not a plat competitor, so he's
Mhm.
never submitted plat decks. But if you go and look at plat right now, you would see his deck, which I basically predicted each and every single card from here. I knew that
Oh
he's going to
wow.
play exactly this deck because I just went in his inventory and I was like, what am I going to play if I was him? And he has
Yeah.
just that one legendary card in his deck, right? And he's going to go and try, and it's a strong legendary, which
Mhm.
is a low star compared to his usual. So obviously he would go and try to put a competitive deck in plat. And if Razm actually delivers right now, like he's a quite, I think, strong competitor for the win right now because he's down. What's that like? 100 and 1,200 points, but
Yeah.
he's competing against fading decks at the top, where people have had outperformance in the first day, and he's gonna be playing catch up here. With Tyler has more upside, Rasmus has a lot more upside, so I think he has a good shot here. And
That's
that's
also
actually
another
the
good way to
entire
look at it.
reason why I bet on someone else was him, actually.
Oh yeah, because he's not even in that list, is he? Because he
Yeah,
hasn't
exactly.
submitted
It's
a.
I think it's the first time he's playing plat because well, competitively, because that's his first legendary.
That is awesome. Yeah, like since we were on the stream, I kind of looked, and yeah, you can see. Oh, it's not showing up here yet that I bought. Or yeah, it is. I put 10 on Bonsai real quick because it was like a 10x odds, and he's
Hmm.
currently sitting at second. I probably should have went and looked at his inventory, but I know Bonsai always kind of has that. He's always kind of in that top, especially in like gold and platinum. So I wanted to kind of uh, throw in
Yeah,
on him.
you don't really need to look at the inventories once the tournament has started because you can actually go ahead and see what decks they have.
Oh yeah,
So in this case, basically what I was doing as soon as the tournament started, I immediately went and checked, for example, that ArcSpace has submitted 3 decks. They're quite. I hope this loads. Sometimes this gets laggy, but I think I went through his decks, and they didn't seem like that competitive from what I saw. Yeah, so like
oh yeah,
he had good cards like Epic Greg, and this had Epic Ansem, I think. Yeah, but well, hard actually worked out, but it was betting
yeah.
like on cards like DSF, and I was like, yeah, no. So immediately when this opened, I just went and closed my ArcSpace position, even though it was at a loss, just because then it didn't make sense. Even at the
Yeah.
100x, like it just doesn't make sense. And I think there was a few more that I had positions on and just closed as soon as I saw the decks that they actually put in. Um, and the opposite is true. Like King of the North, for example, I think he has a really good deck right now, which is 21, but actually he has a lot of upside with CL. Unfortunately,
Oh
I don't
yeah.
think he has a chance of the win because of main, because he's gonna under deliver as a 7.
Yeah.
But overall, like he had a decent deck in. So when the tournament started, I was putting some bucks on him. But now, to be honest, yeah, I don't think I wouldn't cash out because it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Maybe I can take 3 frags away to trim down a little bit, but just basically, yeah, it's down enough to not matter at this point. But
And that's on the Trader Main News, correct?
yeah, mostly because obviously when you have like such a big card as main, as a 7, like in here, like you need him to perform as a 7, as like a top 7, and be
Yeah.
that, because obviously like there's gonna be decks which have 7s like Deep and Ansem, I think, were 7s now this week, so it's gonna be quite tough to compete with them.
Absolutely, yeah.
um
I mean, especially him having that Adam legendary is huge.
yeah,
If he
yeah,
would
yeah,
have had a different
exactly.
7.
That's why I liked the deck initially, but then I think main kind of fucked that one over.
Oh yeah,
uh
I'm banking on CL. I'm hoping CL. I went really heavy on CL in my core tournaments as well as King of the
yeah,
Hill and prediction market. So hoping
I'm really hoping for
works
CL
out.
because if you look at holders,
Yeah,
this
up
is
top.
my current position. So he's in all of my top decks and then some. Like I had to literally put epic CLs in what I consider bad decks just because I have so many.
Oh yeah.
But actually, like it's quite tough. Like my performance right now is quite shit, just because of him not posting yet. I hope that I can recover a bit. But generally, yeah, I mean, my third best deck doesn't even have a legendary, so it's not really working out that well. Main is gonna be dragging me down a little bit, and if CL doesn't post, I'm gonna be wrecked.
Oh no. Well, if CL doesn't post, wouldn't that? Oh no, he would still be a higher star because he posted before or since the last tournament ended, right? So he wouldn't be a one star
Yeah, he actually had really good momentum. That's why I was quite bullish.
coming
He had
in. Yeah.
really good momentum coming in. So
Yep.
he had these like almost 100,000 scores on the 24/7, on the
Yeah.
24 hours. But yeah, but Collier is an interesting one because I feel like, so I'm gonna do this first and then talk about it because I'm gonna get front run probably. Actually, I'm gonna trim down more. I feel like people are always tending to overestimate the actual yeah, this is quite good. I feel like people are overestimating quite a lot the value of the current standings, especially like it's not even been a day and a half in the tournament, and they get, I think, quite hyped about the current positions. So the situations like that, like I'm rather looking to cash out from because currently, um, initially I had a huge position on him, so now I'm only barely covering my investment in the total market, but I already cashed out quite a lot of profit, I think, from this because multiple times like he was falling to like 2x, which I think is very overpriced considering his deck has a lot of overperforming cards. Obviously, like an Epic Simon, Simon has lately been quite bad, and he just has that. So if you go and look at him, because I did that earlier, um, you could see that he just had a good setup for this tournament because he had this one post which was decent, which was let me see, where was it? I think this one. Yeah, this one was right after the tournament start, and it had like pretty good views, like better than usual for him. And it's just like in the right beginning of the tournament, which gives him a lot of advantage early on. So he picked up a lot in the beginning, and he's just gonna be fading and fading throughout the whole tournament because his other posts are doing way worse. It's gonna be bringing down his
Oh,
average,
yep.
and other people are gonna be catching up on total views. So in reality, this deck I expect it to go down over time because of Simon mostly. On the bright side, was and why I'm not cashing out more is was has a lot of more upside, I think, because he's just at 500 right now, and I think he was having good momentum into the tournament. But I'm generally cautious about investing in overperforming decks early on in the tournament because these are usually going to be fading. All of these three cards probably are going to be fading over the next days. And right
That's
now he has
another
a
good way to look.
he
I've
has a
already seen
good
there's a
lead.
bunch of oh sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying he has a good lead, but there's also like a bunch of decks. Like Juni, for example, is quite a good example. He has Davies here, which with a lot more upside, and then you had, I think, was it Crab? Someone had a CL. Yeah, Crab has a CL with a 0, but also like a Simon Legendary, so that's probably not gonna go that well. But there was, where was it? Obviously Juan like has also a lot of
Yeah.
upside in here, so there's a few decks which I think can kind of catch up to the
Oh,
top,
intern's still
even though
playing.
it's
I forgot about that.
oh yeah, he had a crazy deck this time out, and
Oh, so good.
funnily enough, like it's actually working out with Guard right now,
Yep.
so technically it has a good potential to deliver actually. Might be our someone else.
Yep. Yeah, see, Junie, I actually put on the stream Friday, I put a like big bet for myself in. I think it's one of my bigger bets was on Junie at the odds I had he was at. And because he bet on himself, I was like, okay, I'm gonna put 250 on him.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm hoping he comes through because I'm not gonna trim on him or anything. I'm just gonna kind of ride it.
So basically what I'm doing here usually is I open this up and I kind of know at this point in time, like what are the odds in my mind for all of these different decks and players. And for example, Bonsai right now here, probably because of you, but that moved a little bit to an extent where I actually probably might want to take profit on it a little bit,
Hmm.
because in reality, like Elio would be overperforming quite a lot here. So I doubt he would keep that ranking. And it's the legendary, so it's the highest multiplier card, which is going to be
Oh, yeah.
fading. So this deck is only going to be going down, I think. So that's why I kind of, I guess, want to, yeah, maybe take a little bit of profit here on that
Hmm.
one. And it's funny, it seems like it's at a loss because I cannot cash out, but that's only if I want to cash out my full position. Otherwise,
Oh,
I
yeah.
just I just took out 20%. I just took out 20 frags for like 40 frag profit.
Heck yeah, that's good.
So yeah, I think that's the most fun I'm having on the prediction markets. Like I genuinely like love the actual yeah, I have zero chance of winning. Let me cash that out. 8 frags or 8 frags. So this is like the most fun market for me because obviously I'm a plat player. I'm
Hmm.
playing pretty much only plat. So I know the league quite well. And when this was when prediction markets were opening, this is the first market I went to kind of take advantage on the fact that everybody was starting at the 15x. So obviously
Hmm.
you would immediately put on someone like Trapdoor, like a decent bet here.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's awesome. I've already could tell there's a lot of I've been writing little notes like and the how far we're into the stream on clips. I'm gonna have to deploy the wife on helping me get some clips because I still have to finish clipping Friday stream. But yeah, I'm gonna deploy the wife on clipping this and got the times written down because there's a lot of clippable material here that you've put out. So a lot of good
Yeah,
advice.
I'm glad to hear it. Is there any other market you want to kind of get into
I
and
was
talk more about?
wondering, like the mention market. I wanted to see, kind of pick your brain on a little bit on the mention market.
So this is a fun one. So I know I don't have an edge there, right?
Hmm.
So I'm not like constantly online. I'm not like on Twitter that much. I'm basically my Web3 time is 90% fantasy. And when I went to the mention market, I was kind of I was really eager to make a bet, but I was kind of cautious because I was almost certain that I would lose money on it. In the end, just because I was opening it very frequently, I ended up kind of learning some stuff about it. So I was just too tingly about it. So I went and browsed the recent history in Coinbase and Kashi and Polymarket and so on to just get a feeling on like how these would perform. So I ended up putting like a lot of money on Coinbase going for yes because this was a fun one. I'm not sure why, but France was giving away money on this one because they had a tweet at 400,000 views, and he was still betting on no and like with big frags, and I wasn't really sure why. Because it was a relatively recent tweet, and obviously, like for a week more, it would gain the 100k needed. So I just went on and squeezed out like every single bit I could on the yes side.
There
um,
you go.
so now it's a hefty profit. I'm sorry, France. I'm not sure why you were doing that, but thanks for the frags.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, see, my only one I went with on that one was again, I bet a lot heavier than I normally do. I'm gonna save like my bigger bets for like on streams and stuff because it makes it fun, like better content as well.
Yeah,
Was the breaking 5+, and I love to see that it's already at 4, and I see Franz and some others already betting on the yes on that, just squeezing a little bit more out of it, even at like a 1 point. What is it at right now? 1.8,
yeah,
1.08, 1.08. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah.
DJ News, to be honest, like I'm so out of touch with Crypto Trader when it comes to non-fantasy stuff that I don't even know what that is. Like I'm not touching this at all. Like the only one that I was actually thinking about the bet that Kipit made today. So he made
Mhm.
made today a yes here because he saw that at 4. I saw that yesterday, I think at 3, and I was thinking, what the fuck? This makes a lot of sense to bet on if for one day there's 3 and it's a whole week and it needs only
Yeah.
5. And the odds were still, I think, like 1.3 or 4, but I didn't bet on it. I don't remember why. It's just something that I kind of feel iffy about betting on something I don't understand and I don't feel like I have an edge on. So I'm just kind of
Okay.
skipping these. the fun one for me was Brian Armstrong, where
Yeah.
I think I did really poorly. So so what I did was, initially I was just going ham and just like betting and just having fun with it. I just bet on the underdogs option, so under 9 or over 16 and over 23. So all of them were like at basically the less probable markets. And I don't know why, but immediately after I bet, then I started to actually research it. And I went and actually had, I think this is a fun example. I went and actually had a fun chat with Grok, where I was
I
asking
love it.
him about Brian Armstrong's history of posting around Christmas in the past 4 or 5 years. And I was basically just analyzing how much he's going to post. And I was like, okay, I'm fucked. Like he's not gonna post a lot. so so basically I did a shit ton of research after I bet on him, like how many tweets he has per month in 2025 and whatnot. And he had a good uptick of tweets lately, but overall, like he's very consistent in tweeting very little, and he doesn't retweet and he doesn't reply a lot. So it's like 2 a day at best usually, which around Christmas is probably going to be even less. So in reality, this might actually still be a good option at these odds, to be honest, even though it's already at 4 out of 9. But these are just, yeah, these are just, to be honest, I will even take some loss on this. I'm surprised that this is still at such good odds. But overall, I've accepted that I've just done bad here, and these were actually a lot bigger. I just accepted some loss on it earlier today, I think. Yeah, actually a little bit before the stream. I just kind of trimmed the
Trimmed a
loss a
little.
little bit.
There you go. It softens the blow. I think your wins in the other departments are gonna make up for that though, from what we've seen so
Hope
far on
so.
stream.
Hope so. Yeah. The other one would be DB, where I just waited for a moment where the no market felt like was undervalued and just went on that. But it's still like, it's not like a huge bet.
Mhm.
Some people have been putting like, actually I'm kind of confused. Sometimes I see myself in the top payout here and sometimes not. I'm not really sure why, because obviously the payout is larger than Keep It, for example, but it doesn't really show here. And sometimes I do. So it seems like something that's not working that well sometimes.
Oh, I wonder if it's a percentage as well. Could it be that like a bigger
Well,
percentage of the bet, or I guess I don't know.
first
I'm
and
just kind of
fifth,
thinking out loud.
first and fifth have the same odds roughly, and this has the
Oh,
best odds. But yeah,
that's gonna
so
be something. I
not
know
really
the
sure.
team's
I
watching the
should be
stream
somewhere
too,
in
so
here. Sorry?
I said I know the team's watching the stream as well, so that's probably something they can kind of look into as well.
Well, to be honest, I'm not too worried about stuff like that because I mean, we've had like such a big volume of that chat group we had around the
Yeah. Oh,
beta
yep.
for prediction markets, that I feel like they have a pretty big list on
Yeah.
their site,
And
and I'm
shout out to
seeing they
you on
push
that.
fixes.
And thank you did you were like, and I know that Kippet gave you your flowers on Friday too, but I want to do so as well. But you and some of the other guys were awesome on helping the team get solid feedback and everything down to like the UI, UX. I mean, yeah, it was
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, I think it kind of works like when you make a product that people are actually having fun with and are passionate about, like this is naturally going to happen. In my real life, I'm a product manager, so a big part of my life is just using products and giving feedback about them. And it kind of felt really natural. And this, to be honest, like it's the first time I've been so excited about fantasy in quite a long time. Probably the
Loved
last
it.
time was when we redesigned the leagues and I had to change all of my portfolio for platinum, but that lasted like a lot shorter than I think this would last. I'm quite bummed, to be honest.
Yes, I've been looking forward to this for a while, and I was telling Travis right before this that I've been looking forward to this since I found out about it on like within like the team, like one of the team meetings, and like months ago. That one, it was hard to keep it under wraps, but I just had to like just keep building in the background, like planning out streams and Yeah, I knew that content was gonna go on, like content go burr as soon as this thing dropped. So I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. The this
Absolutely.
one I feel like the probably the most fun ones in general, and like the best ones to play are the head to head and the hero ranks, because like the top five and the first one, it's mostly just kind of calculating odds and just like trying to snipe, maybe countering someone who overextended. But like these ones, I think, are the ones where you can really apply your understanding of the game, because the head-to-heads are designed in a way where they should be relatively 50-50. So we had in the chat group, like we were discussing what should be the head-to-heads, and actually I think they ended up being 100% like how my suggestions for them were. But my suggestions were basically based on just looking at both heroes fitting in a team, so you can kind of have a little bit more hype about the battle itself, but also them being very equally matched, so it's like at a 50-50 odds. So naturally I felt like whenever these opened, I already knew who I wanted to bet on, because I already knew what the markets would be in advance. I guess I had thought about that. And actually, when these went on, I you can see that I immediately went with the underdogs, because in my mind they were quite evenly matched, and that's how I was thinking about them when suggesting them. And then when I see like people mispricing by that much, so you can get up to 3x for an Ansem win, this feels like an obvious must-have bet. And again, like you might lose 2 out of 3, but if you lose only 1 out of 3, like it's gonna be a huge win still. So feels like a good one to just go at with conviction. And Greg versus Naive is another good one, because
That's close.
obviously Greg had a good start, but and I've had a slow start. So this was in reality, like if you look at the chart, like it quickly went from 40% to then like 60. Now it's a little bit balanced back to equal. So in reality, I've always been leaning naive for this one, and there was a short option for actually placing a bet at a decent odd for naive, but I was kind of always wanting to bet on naive for that fight. But just Greg having a good start, which I was thinking is not gonna last, actually gave me the option to bet on naive. Otherwise, like he had like very very bad odds at this.
There we go. And I actually going on something something you put in my head, right, is looking for those kind of like those easier wins, almost like guaranteed wins. Is I went ahead and bet on so it was two learnings I learned from you, right? One was kind of look for those things that are like pretty much a guarantee and try and find odds that are good. Was I bet on CRG to beat Maine with the Maine news that you informed me of, right? That he's going to be with spending time with family, not posting as well. And he CRG already has a huge lead, right? He's in 8th, or they
Yeah.
are in 8th compared to 48. And the odds I got at, and when I was at, I get a 25% return, 1.25. But then I also, another learning I got from you was, instead of me just throwing in like 200 right away, which would have knocked it clear down to like only 19, I went with I did $100 bet, and then a $50 bet, and then a $30 bet. I don't think I
And
put the 30
just
in yet,
seeing how
actually.
it turns out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
makes sense.
so yeah, just get that easy 25, that almost locked 25% gain.
Oh, I got a
So
slippage warning. I guess that's because of you, probably. So did you bet on 1.25?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's the slippage warning working live.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, we ran into that on Friday too. There was one we were both going at, and Kippet was like a millisecond quicker than me, and I got the warning, which I like the warning being there, to let you know, or let us
Yeah.
know, right, that the odds had changed.
Would be cool. Like I know the team is watching, and I think I messaged them about that in the Telegram group also. But would be cool if these are updating live. It feels like now they are updating once you refresh, or maybe every X minutes. But yeah, basically you had already placed your bet, but I was still seeing the old odds, and only when I start to try to bet on it, only then I was getting an error. And only after a refresh I was getting these. But I'm sure things like that, they would get just better over time, and overall it's already quite a decently polished product. I would say it's working quite well, but there's like some small touches here and there which is just going to make the experience super slick.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm super excited because one, like, knowing, and you've got to see it from being in the test team, right? The product test team for helping with the product mark on the little like test group or whatever. How hard, and they like are constantly, taking feedback,
Yeah.
and just heads down building, pushing updates. So with how clean and like smooth everything's going now, I'm excited to see where it is, at the beginning of the year here in 2 weeks, and then a month out from there, knowing that, I mean, yeah, I'm excited. I like it. This is, the possibilities are endless with kind of where they can go. And so, yeah, I'm excited.
Indeed, and I think one of the things they mentioned they're working on is a completely updated leaderboard. I was
Mhm.
actually, to be honest, if this was working, because it's a little bit glitchy right now with the volume and stuff, but if this was working properly, it's already quite good. So if they do something much better than that for the leaderboard, I think that would be quite exciting, because this is going to be a very hyped screen. Basically, it's going to
Yes.
be something that people look at, people talk about, and it probably should be integrated here, to be honest, because this is quite useless in comparison. Like seeing the lifetime burns of auto, like I couldn't care less. But I think seeing like active seasonal data for the performance of the players, for the prediction markets and the P&Ls and so on is going to be quite crazy.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I really like
Oh,
the
one is
trading
really
competition.
well. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely, as someone who has always been, like, as soon as I get my frags on tournament wins, like I'd roll them into cards, offload what I didn't want, and just take the frags that I'd get from that and use it for, or the ETH I'd get from that and use it to buy the cards I did need. Right. Well, now I'm not doing that. I'm saving a lot of my frags for prediction markets, like a huge chunk of them, and just buying the cards I need. Right. Instead of using the frags to try and pull them. So it definitely, I think, helps with that as well. But yeah, I'm really kicking myself for the first week of PM launch is the 1 week that due to IRL stuff and everything. And the kids being sick, I didn't play. Like, I only put 3 decks in last week, and so I just ended up buying frags to bet with. And yeah,
Well,
it's a lot
who
of
would
fun.
know? Who would know that after a year and a half of playing fantasy every week, 1 week you would have IRL stuff which would get in the way? Who would know?
Yep.
Um,
Absolutely.
did you see this, by the way? I just saw. So let me just quickly jump to the Fantasy Top account. Look at what Intern just posted.
Let's go, baby.
It just posted on Monday instead of Sunday because of fantasy. Like
Let's go.
that's the kind of effect we want. Like I'm gonna propose that. That's sick.
Yes. Yes, interns go.
Yeah,
Let's
absolutely.
go. Yes, that's
Well,
awesome.
awesome, man. It's been quite a pleasure to
Yes,
talk
thank
to
you so
you.
much.
It's been quite
We're definitely
fun.
gonna have you on again, multiple times, reoccurring guests. Because man, this has been a lot of fun, and I can't believe it's already been an hour. This is supposed to be like a half-hour-ish
Has it?
show, but
Nice.
yeah, like it's feels like talking to a long lost friend, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Cool. Well,
Heck yes, well,
thanks,
thank
man.
you so much. I'll send you some clips too when they're done, so you can post them from your page as well. But yeah, man, thank you so much, and hope you keep slaying it out there. I'll be watching your trades closely. I learn from them.
Thanks, Carb.
Yep. We'll see you guys on the
Enjoy
next
the
one.
holidays, mate.
Yep, you as well. Bye.
Bye.